Josh Green here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by top Chinese heavyweight Zhilei Zhang. Zhilei Zhang, how are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
Very, very well. And in exciting times in the heavyweight division, very much so for yourself. Are you back in training after the big victory over Joe Joyce?
Yeah, I started to get back to the gym, preparing for whatever's coming next.
You say whatever's next. There's plenty of offers on the table, and a name that has been mentioned a few times now is Anthoy Joshua. Eddie Hearn has mentioned your name linked with his. Would that be a fight that excites you and a fight that you think is realistic that could happen?
Yeah, I think everything is still up in the air right now. But you heard what Eddie says. The ball is in their hands. He knows that I want to fight Joshua, and he knows that it's a big risk. Are they going to take the risk? I have no idea. But if they want to send over the contract, I'm ready to take a look, and I'm ready to go forward.
Where do you believe Anthoy Joshua is in his career? Do you believe he's still got more to give right at the top?
Yeah, I think he's kind of going downhill in terms of his career, and I also heard that he spent some time in a little room for a few days, which cost a lot of money. I don't know what kind of therapy that is, probably a mental therapy, but yeah, I think he's definitely not in the prime.
Do you believe that therapy you mentioned could help him at all with anything in his career?
I don't know, but I want to find out. Ask Joshua to see if that really works.
Another name that's been mentioned and linked with yourself is Derek Chisora, someone who I think many fans believe is coming towards the end of his career. Is that a fight that would excite you at all, or?
I'm not sure about that fight because right now, for me and my team, we're looking at top names. We're looking at tougher opponents. We're looking at bigger opportunities. So those top heavyweights are on my target. But if you say one day they want to run away from me, then I'm definitely looking to other names as well.
You mentioned those top names. Is there an element of risk with taking them? You're of course in a mandatory position for a world title. Is any fight you take now a risk of sort of letting that go?
It's not a risk. It's not a risk. To be honest with you, I have to wait until the unification is out of the way. Either way, there's a period of time that I have to wait around, and I don't want to sit there waiting for that fight to happen. God knows when. So in between, I have to get myself active, get some fights going on. So I don't look at it as a risk. I look at it as opportunity.
Let's talk about the weekend. Tyson Fury, Francis Ngannou. What were your initial reactions to the results and the scorecards?
Everyone was writing Ngannou off before the fight. He was come from a different sport. He was making his debut, but when the final bell rang, I think Ngannou was not that bad, and Tyson Fury was not that good either. Especially with one knockdown, with a controversial scorecard, and I believe that Tyson Fury in the level was exposed.
Do you believe Francis Ngannou won that fight?
I feel like it's a close fight, given that knockdown is a 10-8 rounds. And if you really look at the scorecard, I feel like it could go either way. But you have to give Ngannou credit.
What is the overall effect on boxing having somebody making their professional debut, at least running close, and in some people's eyes beating the heavyweight champion of the world? What's the effect on boxing as a whole?
I think it's a shame that an athlete from a totally different sport making his professional debut, fighting against the current lineal WBC heavyweight champion of the world and almost beat him. I think it's a shame to the professional sport industry.
Do you believe Francis Ngannou could beat any top heavyweights, and what level do you believe he is?
Yeah, I can't answer that question because I believe that Ngannou still needs to be tested. He beat the worst version of Tyson Fury, and he still needs to be tested and checked one way or the other.
The fight we're all looking forward to, I think 23rd of December was the date that was mentioned for Alexander Usyk and Tyson Fury. That seems to be in jeopardy now, may not happen. Do you believe that fight happens this year, or do you think we now have to wait for that?
I don't think it matters that much anymore. When or where or is it going to happen? They've been negotiating back and forth for almost 2 years between Tyson Fury and Alexander Usyk, and all of a sudden they signed a deal a week after I beat Joe Joyce and called Tyson Fury out. My understanding is he's trying to avoid me, but I don't care what anybody else thinks. That fight doesn't interest people and boxing fans anymore, because the unification between those two guys, with that performance of Tyson Fury last night, I just don't think people are still that interested to see that fight happen.
But you believe the interest in unification between Alexander Usyk, undisputed between Alexander Usyk and Tyson Fury, has gone down significantly after what we saw on Saturday?
At least for me, it is. If you want to do a money fight with Ngannou, I don't have a problem with that at all. But do it right, train right, prepare well, and go into the fight 100%. So I don't think Tyson Fury is taking the sport of boxing seriously enough.
Is the situation with the belts and the champions frustrating for yourself? Because the longer this goes on, the longer you may have to wait. Is that frustrating for you?
It's a little frustrating because when you're in that position and you're holding on to that world title belt by doing nothing. So I feel like it's a waste of time for the business people inside this industry, and it's a waste of time for the fans around the world. And if you maintain that, if you keep that position, you have to be able to maintain it. And boxing has been inevitably losing a lot of fan base. A lot of people used to watch boxing, now they turn to MMA and UFC. So I think this is probably one of the reasons. And they look at money. The current champions, and a lot of people look at money more than the love of the sport and the genuine emotion for the sport, and that's no good. And fighters like Mike Tyson or Lennox Lewis, they paved the road for boxing to be what it is today. But some champions right now, they just destroy the fundamental of boxing and the value that the fans want to follow, and the reason the fans want to follow the sport.
Excellent words, Zhilei. Thank you very much for your time, and we hope to see you out soon.
Thank you.
you.